few past couple of days that Resident Evil 6 is a good video game, and people were lying this entire time. That game's amazing. I could do an arcade. I could do a cutter on a zombie, which makes it like the best video game I've ever played in my entire life. I super kicked a zombie. Logan did a Hurricane Rana on a zombie. That was pretty sick. Hello, everyone. Welcome to DualShockers DualSense discussion. That's kind of weird to say.
It's dual sensors now.
Yeah, welcome to DualSense's DualSense discussion. I'm Michael Ruiz. I am the news editor here at DualShockers. We're going to talk about the new PS5 controller called the DualSense. With me today is Lou Contaldi, the editor-in-chief at DualShockers. How are you doing?
Hey everyone, I'm doing good. It's a day. Welcome to quarantine.
It is a day. We also got Cam Hawkins. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, Mike. How are you?
I'm good. We got Grant Huff as well. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. What about you?
I'm fine. And Otto Kratky?
Kratky. Hey man.
Yours is the name that I haven't seen as much.
Who's the new guy?
So yeah. Let's just dive into this new controller here.
All right.
Let's just have general thoughts here. Everybody, let's start. I'm gonna look at this list here. I'm gonna go alphabetical order. So let's start with Cam.
Why? I'm the minority opinion here.
Nah. You might have some.
Okay. I'll say my piece and everyone else can attack me back. I think the DualSense is really sexy. I really like the design. It's a little oddly shaped, I would say, but like just the general look of it, I really enjoy. I like how the touchpad lights like glow through the cracks that are on the controller. I really like it. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
All right,
Grant.
Sorry, I'm gonna come in there right away.
Okay.
And say this is gonna I'm not attacking. This is for casual viewers or people who are stumbling upon us. We are big Sony fans. I mean, we work at a site called DualShockers, so it comes with the territory.
I'm just gonna say,
you might hear us
get
nasty
for yourself. I'm an Xbox fan.
Xbox.
I'm not saying you can't be fans of other things. I'm saying I've been playing Persona 5 Royal all night. This is my thing. That said, I could care less about this, or I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less about the PS the DualSense controller. It looks awful, and maybe that's the white on black. And I know it's not the white on black because it's that PlayStation button right in the middle that looks terrible. I've told everyone this is my one hang-up. I honestly, not like I'm not going to play it, not like any of us have felt it yet. The only person who's felt it is Shuhei Yoshida. I'm convinced, even though he didn't seem to know what it was called. So, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. And I hope it changes my mind. Hopefully with new color swaps, it'll do that. But I think there's a lot of room of discussion on how this is going to fit in next gen.
I feel like we have seen some people already kind of do some color swapping or like make it all black and stuff like that, and I think it does look a little. I think it looks better. I'm on the side of it, kind of liking it more than the normal DualShock. I don't really like the DualShock at all. I prefer an Xbox controller. I even prefer the Nintendo Switch controller, Pro controller.
100%.
So
that's a hot take.
So like,
is that a hot take?
I think so.
No, DualShock 4 is the worst of the three main controllers.
Yeah, I'm with Cam on that. I just think it fits my hand better, and I don't like the two. I like the asymmetrical thumbsticks more than symmetrical. It just doesn't feel right to me. That being said, though, it's not like the DualShock 4 is bad.
No.
But it's just what I prefer. This, on the other hand, I kind of like it in terms of like form factor. I really do. Initially, though, I was with Lou, and like the first thing I saw when I saw it, I was like, ugh, like that's not really that good looking. I think it really is the color scheme, because once you get some of the fan-made ones that have been going around today, even like minutes after it was revealed, it looked a lot better. Like I thought it looked a lot better, and it looks like a comfy controller for sure. But yeah, Grant, what do you think about it?
So I think everyone is just freaking out about the mismatch of the black and white colors. If they just came out with that mock-up of someone photoshopped it to an all-black controller, I think everyone would have loved it immediately. I mean, me personally, I like a little chunk to my controller. I want it to be a little wider, a little heavier. That's why, I mean, I agree with, I think, who said the Switch Pro controller was the best one?
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think that one is the most comfortable one out of all of the consoles this generation. I don't like the triggers as much on that one, but just fitting my hands, the faceplate of it being a little bit wider than the rest of them, it just kind of sits comfortably. And if we look back, all the most of the most comfortable controllers, especially the Wavebird, the greatest controller ever made, they all are a little chunky. So I don't know. I'm super excited about this.
I think you mean the original Xbox's Duke controller, I think is what you mean.
Except that one. I don't like
We need the boomerang controller. We got to bring the boomerang controller back.
Oh, yeah.
I see your boomerang controller. I raise you a SpongeBob GameCube controller.
Oh, what about the Dreamcast controller, though? We need the screen.
What about the Resident Evil 4 chainsaw controller?
Oh, God.
What about the Donkey Konga Bongo?
Those are great.
Those are good.
Yeah,
I've seen people beat Dark Souls with that.
Isn't there a controller specifically for like Link's crossbow training or some shit?
There was a peripheral, I believe, for it. Yes.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure every Wii game had its own peripheral, so that's
Did
that's
Red Steel?
Samurai Sword, maybe Red Steel too. All right, so before we move on to whoever else hasn't made
Otto
their
is
voice
the
note.
last one.
Otto, before we get to you, I'm also gonna say I don't think it is all color scheme. I'm taking a look, and yes, I think palatably to my eye, it looks much better when it's black with the correct colors to it, with the triangle, square, cross, and circle having the right stuff. But there's still some pretty major design flaws. I've never been a huge fan of the touchpad. I feel it's been underutilized through the generation, and I'm almost upset to see it come back. I think the D-pad, they haven't taken innovations that have done well throughout this generation in making more of a control stick-like D-pad that's omnidirectional. I still have a lot of misgivings about this, and yes, I think it's easy to say that white-black two-tone doesn't look good. But Otto, what's your say on this?
All right, so I this is loaded. I have a lot. First of all, I hard agree on the color scheme. I don't know why they have it black on the bottom. I have in front of me right now my all-white DualShock 4, which I love this controller. I love the DualShock 4. I use it even when I'm, there's some games on PC that, you should play with a controller. I have a wired 360 controller, but I use this instead. And it's all white. The only black parts are the option and select buttons, the D-pad, the triangle, circle, square, and X, the thumbsticks, triggers. That's right. If they did that for this model, it would look a million times better to me. But besides that, I'm totally against you, Lou. I really, really like the touchpad. I like when it's used properly, especially. And it sucks that there weren't a lot of games that did that. I remember Infamous Second Son, I believe, did a lot of different stuff, a lot of very innovative stuff with the internal speaker and the touchpad, which I'm also very happy to see the internal speaker come back. That's great. It being a microphone, though, just kind of opens up online lobbies to a new circle of hell.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. Jesus.
Yeah, just like you're going to go into a Call of Duty lobby, and every single player now has a microphone that is always on. Besides some security issues with that I kind of have, that is just terrible.
Yeah.
And I've also heard a lot of criticism from the fighting game community about that as well. So that's I didn't really go like super deep into the reasonings behind it, but I saw, just like scrolling through social media, I did see like a lot of people saying like specifically like the mic being implanted into the DualShock, the DualSense is like really bad. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out with the fighting.
I mean, well,
it does look like there's a mute button on it, like under the PS logo. There's a little button there, and it has like a little X on the microphone. So it does look like there's a mute button. So it's not like it's always on. You can choose to turn it off and on. But yeah, I think that's a really bold choice to do that.
Yeah, I it's just opening this huge can of worms. In fighting games, I can especially see that because people get really salty.
What are you talking about?
Really
my
salty.
only strategy is screaming into a mic until the other person just forfeits. So this is actually perfect for me.
Yeah, as someone who plays Mortal Kombat 11 regularly, I could tell you that profanity happens. So yeah. Going back kind of to what Lou said though too, about like touch and stuff, and also you talking about like the touchpad, like on this PlayStation blog post, it does talk about that. It says here, based on our discussions with developers, we concluded that the sense of touch within gameplay, much like audio, hasn't been a big focus for many games. We had a great opportunity with PS5 to innovate by offering game creators the ability to explore how they can heighten that feeling of immersion through our new controller. Obviously, that doesn't mean that it's just the touchpad. There's also the haptic feedback, and as well as the adaptive triggers. This is stuff that we already knew about previously. But what do you guys think about that too? About like having the controller be the immersive tool to your video games?
I think it'll happen for the beginning of this generation for PS exclusive games, and then quickly die off if it's not on parity for the rest of the consoles.
Just like this generation.
Just like this generation. And I think that's it's a fun gimmick to sell people on when you start it off, but I think practically and realistically, not enough developers use it. And it was like the 3DS 3D feature. Hardly anyone implemented 3D towards the later half of the generation. It's just things that drop off.
Same thing like HD Rumble with Joy-Cons. No, I mean, I don't remember the last game I played where I even noticed someone taking advantage of that rather than the Joy-Con just rumbling.
That's what I was going to bring up, is like I feel like they just kind of need to have the touchpad there all the time now, just because, like, especially because they're doing backwards compatibility. Like, there aren't a lot of games that implement the touchpad, but if
that's
they
a good point.
To remove it, it would be hard for them to, unless they like introduce something new to the controller. I feel like it would be hard for them to adapt when it came to doing backwards compatibility. And again, it's like what Grant said, similar to the HD Rumble and like how the Switch, like the Switch Lite, doesn't have HD Rumble because embedded into the actual handheld. That while there aren't a lot of games that have HD Rumble like Breath of the Wild does, but when you use that, they wouldn't be able to use that as a player. So like it's one of those things like it kind of sucks that they brought back the touchpad, but like I think it was the better move overall.
I will say too, for like the Rumble stuff, there are a few times where I think like this is more with the Xbox controller. For racing games, like I don't think I can ever play a racing game without the like rumble and the triggers is like a thing that I like. It's really weird if like the rumble doesn't work on the triggers anymore. I know that's like such a weird thing, but I think it feels like super weird. In terms of touchpad thing too, like I don't really think like it has been used really well. There's like been a few cases. The one thing I think it has been used really well for, though, is to bring up a map. Like you just click it, and then it has like your big map, and you can use kind of because I've been playing Yakuza, and so you could do that. You can press the button in the middle, it shows the map, and then you could kind of like drag your finger across it. And I think that's always been like the best way I've seen games ever use it, because I just think it's really simple and intuitive.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as like the haptic feedback and stuff like that, I just would need to actually try it to see if like, oh, this is game changing,
I will say, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if we're okay moving forward to something else, that I think one thing that we can all like hold hands on that is a big improvement is that the controller looks bigger, and I
agree.
Like most people have the criticism about DualShock 4 that it's a really small controller. Like, I'm a 6'4" person, and I don't have very big hands for someone of my height and size. But like, even for me, I'm like, this controller's way too small to hold in my hands. And it seems like that they have made some changes to make it look bigger, because I was like talking to my friends about it, and one of them said that they think that the sticks look too close to each other compared to like DualShock 4. And I'm like, I think it's because the controller's bigger. Which I'm assuming that's the case. So with that in mind, like, it's at least that they've listened. They know that the DualShock 4 is too small, and they're making the DualShock 5 or the DualSense bigger this time around.
I'm almost actually surprised they didn't show renders next to each other. Like, they didn't do a cross compare where they just placed it next to a DualShock 4 to show it off. I'm sure that's coming. They're doing that whole like steady drip of content, but it does seem weird that they didn't let people do that comparison from the get-go.
Yeah. I think another, maybe like one of the last few things we could touch on is the implementation of USB-C. I don't know if we talked about that yet.
No, we haven't.
I don't think we have.
I think that's very big. I think that's an awesome thing to have. And also, it looks like there's a headphone jack too still.
Yes.
Which is nice.
I think there is.
Yeah, it looks like it.
I heard that there wasn't a 3.5.
It's pretty unclear.
Yeah, there is a hole in the controller.
Sorry.
Right below
below
the mute
the
mic. Yeah, right below
hole.
that. There is something there. I can't tell if that's a 3.5 millimeter.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's what it's for, but if it is, that'd be great.
Yeah, they did say in the blog post, they were talking about how the built-in microphone where you don't need a headset or anything, but then they said if you want to, they didn't say plug in a headset to the controller, they just said grab your headset. So it was never really clear, but I would think that would be a headphone jack.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be shifting towards just
Bluetooth.
Wireless headphones, Bluetooth, stuff like that. I also realized that on your DualShock 4 controller, there's an extension port at the bottom for you to plug in a keyboard or other stuff like that. Totally missing.
Yep.
I mean, I think we've come past that sort of technology.
Or we'll just plug a USB.
Yeah, exactly. Like a plug-in keyboard like that. I don't know. That feels like last gen, right? Like 360
Solutions.
PS3. So I don't think anyone's upset about that being gone.
No, probably not.
I got a quick question for everyone.
Sure.
So we've seen this weird design right now for the controller. How do we think that impacts actually the PS5? Because we haven't seen what the PS5 looks like. Do you think we're getting a two-tone PS5?
I think we are.
I think it's gonna be. It might be two-tone, but I think it's going to be primarily white. And I mean, like, primarily as in, like, 90 to 95% of it's going to be white. But I honestly think that, I don't know. I just know that there are people that, like, are really sold on white. Like, I know I am. Like, when I got my first PS4, I got the white PS4 Pro. And, like, things like that, that kind of makes me more... That makes me kind of want to get a PS5 quicker, because assuming that the console itself is going to be primarily white. So like, I don't know, like I think it might be a a marketing design or something. I know, so for me, like, that's why I really like the controller. I really like white, and I think it is really cool with the blue, again, with the touchpad and everything like that. So I don't know. I think it's gonna. I don't know. I think it'll benefit it if it's a white console. I think it's going to be more attractive in that sense.
To my knowledge, I think every single PlayStation console that has come out, the controller has been the identical color to what the console was. So if history repeats itself, I could totally see them being PS5 being some weird 95% white, little black sprinkled in there somewhere, just to have some symmetry with the controller.
Yeah.
Now, here's my question though. See, okay, so the DualSense has a more it's not as angular as a lot of the past DualShock controllers. Obviously, it's got a lot more curved sides. It's a lot softer. It's a bit chunkier too. Yeah, in the middle. But I'm talking on just like just on like the outside, the edges, the very top of the thing, rather than being just a flat surface. It's curved. The sides, rather than just being straight down slopes, also kind of curved. I'm curious to see, and I doubt that it will happen, if that will kind of translate to the overall design of the console.
As long as it doesn't look like the OG PS3, then I'm cool with it.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're seeing with the Xbox Series X, both of these consoles are going to be pretty decently sized things, just with how much power is backing it. So yeah, I could see it being, I wouldn't say PS3 levels, because that thing was $600 back in, 2006, 2007, but yeah, it's going to be a meaty console.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling the console is going to look pretty similar to the PS4 and PS4 Pro. I know that in the past it's been different, but I just feel like because that Sony nailed it for such a long time and during this generation, that they want that familiarity with the console, so that when people see that it's like the next one, they're like, oh, they did so well last generation. Like, I feel like that might go apart into the design. Like, I don't think it's going to be, I think it's going to be pretty similar.
So what you're saying is you think they're going to add another stack to the PS4 Pro? Just keep going up.
See, I can't agree with you there, because if they really did want to keep familiarity, they wouldn't have switched up the design of the controller so much,
here's the thing.
Or that's where the switch up is.
I don't feel like that they did change the controller like a whole lot. Like, I really don't. It still looks exactly like a PlayStation controller to me. Like, again, they made it a little bit bigger, a little bit chunkier, but like, that's just, I feel like that because they've saw like how successful like Xbox was with like their pro controllers and like, or like their elite controllers, and like kind of just the trend that's going.
Mm-hmm.
That I just think that that's just like what they did. I really don't think that it's that big of a difference.
Yeah.
I think they just kind of like shifted things around, if that's one way of describing it.
Well, my thing about when you say the PS4 nailed it in terms of sales, I think they had such an incredible head start with the Xbox One, only talking about streaming TV and bundling the Kinect in it, gave them such a head start that it really didn't matter whatever Xbox did. Because I think the Xbox One X is not vastly superior, but it's superior than the PS4. I don't think they really perfected it, because both the base PS4 Pro, the Slim, and the base model, the Slim, and the PS4 Pro all have terrible heating issues, it seems like, and the fans go ridiculous. Whereas my X I've never really heard the fan come on. So I don't think they're going to go with the same design they have. I really think it's going to be close to the Xbox Series X, it being some type of tower with some heating ventilation on top of it.
Yeah, I just hope it's just like a sleeker design than like previous like first models of consoles. Like the PS4 I think was definitely sleeker than the Xbox One, like from launch.
Yeah,
but
100%.
Yeah, I think the Xbox One though, the Xbox One X, I think is like the sleekest console. I think it looks so nice on like your entertainment system or whatever, as opposed to the like square of the PS4 Pro.
I don't agree with that. I think that like, I mean, I
think both of them look good. I just prefer how the X looks. Like as
I
a
agree
on
with
my
that. I agree with that. I'm just thinking from a more neutral standpoint that I think that like PlayStation tries to like make their console actually look attractable. Like in the sense, like when you see like an Xbox, you like the Xbox has always been like kind of like the same design, but they just try and make it more modern as they progress.
Yeah.
While PlayStation always tries to do like they try and make something like especially with PS4, they try to make it kind of like sexy, you know what I mean? They wanted it to be like, ooh, look at these, like look at these, like look at the curves, or like
look at that slant.
Look at that slant.
Like, yeah, look at that slant. Like this is
look
the
at that
place
doorstop
now. That type of thing. Where I think that that's what they are trying to do again with the PS5.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna.
I don't think it's gonna be a tower. I definitely don't think it's gonna be a tower. I think like you're right. It probably will be like something that makes it so that the fans don't, get loud super quickly like the PS4 does. But I don't think it's gonna be a tower. I think it's gonna be something that they think that will be more attractable to eyes when it comes to like just a random person walking and looking for, that doesn't know a whole lot about video games but is interested in the console. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just to close this off, we're going to close off the discussion. Did anybody have anything else they wanted to say about the controller? Any final thoughts about the DualSense controller?
Last thing, super. I can't wait to see what this feels like in my hands. That could swing it either way, one way or the other. And I have a feeling this will still feel amazing, and I'm going to look forward to playing on.
I do have one question. So when do you think we're going to see the box? Now that we've seen the controller.
They said within the coming months, I think, in the post.
Do you think it'll be just like kind of like a random drop like this, or do you think it'll be during E3 time, or like, what do you think?
I think
kind of like
I'd bet a random drop.
I think it'll be a random drop. I think it could be around E3 time. I mean, they say so in April, May, June, July, like between May and July.
I imagine they need a direct style kind of.
They should do
video thing. Like video seminar conference, something like that.
Please make it better than the specs thing. That was so boring.
Oh, that was so bad. But that wasn't for us. That was for the developers.
Yeah.
I bet that they just upload a video to YouTube and just tweet something. That is all.
That'd be wild.
That would be
crazy. That's all I'm expecting.
Yeah.
We're getting too close to release time. They need to start generating some hype, because as of right now, how I'm looking at it, Xbox has driven a lot of hype toward their new console, whereas no one seems to be happy about them drip feeding written articles rather than telling us or showing us what the console is and maybe some games and stuff like that. I think sometime around E3 they'll have their own digital thing where they go over everything we want. I can't think that they would just release an article to Wired, or Wired would release an article saying like, "Hey, this is what this looks like. Buy it in 4 months." You know what I mean?
True.
I agree.
At the same time, Xbox kind of did that in a way.
Except they have a good hype man.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Cerny, he has a soothing voice. Smart man. I'm sure he's a nice guy. He's not excited.
You should do ASMR.
I've met him. He is a very nice man.
Just not. Again, if I ever meet you, Mark Cerny, bring up the energy. Phil Spencer it up.
He's an architect, though. He's not. That's not what he's paid for. He's
not a salesman.
Give me hype about the architecture, man.
Add a little Todd Howard to yourself.
There you go. Exactly. If I have my last word on the controller is, I'm extremely curious about how much the thing is going to cost. I know, the controller price is bundled in with the console price. I'm curious to see how much it would cost just by itself, because I'm one of those people that it's never happy just having one controller, and with all the tech packed into this thing, I'm expecting it to be over at least or over $60. And also, oh my god, please color in the triangle, square, circle, and X. Why is it blank?
Oh yeah,
I like it. I like it
too.
Yeah,
I like it colored in.
I got one of those like Phantom Xbox One controllers that has not colored buttons. I like it a lot. Personally.
I got the all white Elite controller.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Love it.
Good controller. Anyway, that concludes our discussion on the DualSense controller. Thank you for listening. Make sure to check out our website, www.dualshockers.com, where you get some good reviews, good news, and all that stuff. You can also follow us on Twitter at DualShockers. I don't know all of your guys' Twitter names, so mine is at the Michael Ruiz. Cam, what's yours?
Mine's at the Cinephile Guy.
Grant?
The Grantula 21.
Lou?
Mine's at Lou Cantaldi.
And Otto?
Mine is at the Elder Pan. All E's.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for listening. Have a good one, guys.
Go wash your hands.
Go wash your hands.
Stay safe.
Stay
Bye-bye.
inside.